Good Monday evening to you guys. How are you? And welcome to the show. It's wonderful to see you all, and I hope you're all doing absolutely well. Who am I? I am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, and I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic on this a Monday evening, March 30th, 20th. March 20th. Squirrel Hermit, greetings, Vincent, not a Bartolo. The Dungeon Minister, the suspense is killing you, isn't it? But here I am. Jack Photon, yes. Jack and I will put out the word for Jack, but not tonight. He's got a project going on, requires a little bit of crowd assistance with. So I'll come back and talk to you about that later. GM Vand, it's good to see you. Derek, man. How are you, Derek, man? Rich Denver. Oh my gosh. It's first of all, it's wonderful to see. If you guys like that piece of music that we start every episode with, well, you just hear a little piece of it because there's like a just this awesome piece of music. Doomsword greetings, done by Bards of Greyhawk, Rich Denver being half of that incredible musical duo. Rich is an absolutely awesome person. Bards of Greyhawk is so much fun to listen to, and they are the Bards of Greyhawk is, to the best of my knowledge, the only first edition advanced Dungeons and Dragons concept band out there. All right. Or at least they're the best. And you should absolutely check out Bards of Greyhawk. I link to them in the description of every video. They make fantastic music, and I owe Rich a huge apology. Rich has got some merch waiting for me that I need to pay him for, and I have been slack and lax and on my back and talking smack and getting off track. So that's going to stop, and I'm going to take care of that. And I'm going to show you guys the awesome stuff that Rich is going to send me after I pay him for it. Okay, it's not gratis, but you guys should check out Bards of Greyhawk because they are awesome. This episode is also and feeling whack. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at Hellebarde Games. Now, of course, you guys know Hellebarde Games makes the kind of adventures that they'd like to play. So whether it's for OSR, whether it's for Castles and Crusades, or whether it is for 5th edition AD&D, they have old school in play at the table. You can check them out on Drive-Thru RPG, or you can check them out at their website, Hellebarde Games. And guess what? They have a sale going on. I gotta open my ad copy for the sale because yes, they have a sale going on. And I gotta find it real quick here. Gotta find my ad copy. All my note cards are messed up on screen, so you'll have to pardon me. So here's the sale info. Hellebarde Games has started a sale to clear out their 5e in print stock, offering 50% off of everything they have in print that is targeted at 5e. That's 2 locations and 10 supporting modules, from a swamp filled with lizard men to a caravan route filled with adventure. Come find what suits your campaign. Use coupon code 5EOOP, and I will put that right there. I'll put that right there. 5EOO. Wait. 5EOOP at Hellebarde Games at checkout to get 50% off. Guys, that is an incredible deal. Fill your gaming shelves with in-print stuff that you can just as easily convert back to, OD&D, AD&D, Basic, whatever scratches your itch. All 5e must go. You need to get some of those for your eldest. He plays it. Well, now's your chance, Dungeon Minister. Jump on it. This sale is in effect. And it is awesome. So you should absolutely pick it up. My apologies to headphone listeners there with my mighty clap. Here, listeners, I give you the clap. Anyway. So, yeah, I'm getting ready for GaryCon. Well, not right now. I'm talking to you guys. I'm hanging out with you guys. But, you know, I got stuff to do, and I got to get stuff done. Of course, you can adapt it to an earlier edition. Like I said, whatever is happening, old school is in play at the table when you get Hellebarde game stuff. And I should know, I wrote one of the adventures. I don't think that one's on sale, though. A Beck Me must be sent to me, including the lever price box sets. Don't know that one. Kurt Duval, greetings and welcome. Good to see you. But anyway, so those are our sponsors, Hellebarde Games, and of course, a forever fan of the show and contributor of awesome stuff is the guys over at Bards of Greyhawk, the Bards themselves. Their link is in the description below, as is the link to Hellebarde Games. And if it's not, I'll fix it. But anyway, so yeah, I don't really have an agenda per se tonight. We're just kind of gonna kind of play this by ear. So I thought, on a play it by ear night, what is better? What is better than grabbing an issue of The Dragon and having a look at it? Now, here's where there may be disappointment in you. Don't close the window. Don't wander off. Put your eyes back over here. Guys, I'm going to be completely honest with you. And somebody left the chat. Dang it. And I say this, I actually owned the Empire of the Petal Throne box set, the Tecumel set from TSR, the one they released in 75 with a vinyl map. I had that for a brief period in the early 2000s. It just didn't suit, so I let it go. I needed the money more than I needed the set, as is often the time with D&D Antiquities. So I had to let it go. I wish I'd been able to keep it, because I would have let it go completely for a ton more money now. But anyway, so when I was thinking, hey, let's just keep it rolling for a little while anyway, and we'll look at Dragon Magazine number 4. That's when I noticed Dragon Magazine number 4 is entirely, completely cover to cover with very little illustration and few ads. Empire of the Petal Throne. Like, brush off your Toussaint to English dictionary and get ready to have that to hand. Now, I'm not speaking ill of Empire of the Petal Throne, Tecumel, M.A.R. Barker, whatever, but it's a little out of my comfort zone right now. It's a little out of my comfort zone right now. I couldn't do that issue justice just kind of moving through it. So I thought, if we're going to look at an issue of The Dragon tonight, and we're going to look at an issue of The Dragon tonight, better to stay in the safe realms of the stuff that I know, of the things that I understand a little bit better. So with that said, let's just kind of jump in. Let's just kind of jump in and have us a gander at Dragon Magazine #5. If you guys are game, if you guys want to do that, like if you have questions, if you want to talk to me about other stuff, if you want to ask me about GaryCon, if you want to talk to me about conventioning in general, I mean, you know, you can absolutely just put questions out in the chat and say, hey, Bill, I can tell you what the first gaming convention I ever went to was. Believe it or not, for a dude who has gamed as long as I have, tabletop gaming, what year was Dragon Magazine #5? 75, 76. We'll look in a second. The first gaming convention that I ever attended was Milwaukee Game Fest in 2004. That's right. I did not go to my first. I never went to Gen Con. I never went to Origins. I never went to WinterCon. I never went to the very, 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 very brief Gen Con South. I never attended. Now, I had been to science fiction conventions before in the 90s. But I didn't like, they were general science fiction conventions and their gaming was far away. 77, thank you, Jack Photon. I was there for science fiction stuff. If I had known more about their gaming, I might have stopped by. So we used to have a regular con here in Orlando called Volcon. See, so many of you guys have so many awesome gaming convention. Like, I know guys my age who are like, yeah, I went to Gen Con when I was 11. I'm like, what? You what? But also understand, I mean, for the convention scene, because sci-fi, like fan conventions, that stuff started back in, I mean, really and truly, it started at the dawn of the I guess now platinum age of science fiction. Like, I think the first Hugo Awards were given out at a ceremony that was attended by like 20 people or something like that. Yes, we are, Ricky. We are. So, you know, like, there have been a lot of scandals involving conventions, and how can I say this without getting Neil to park the Death Star over me? Intimate human contact of questionable legality due to matters of age differences. Let's say that. But at the same time, you know, parents were like, oh, you want to go do this thing? Well, it's here in town. I guess I'll drive you over and drop you off. You should be fine. So, yeah, back in the presumably the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was just like, okay, bye. Have fun. Bye. You know, if you're not flying there or you're not taking a bus or whatever, just have fun. So I was never the con lifestyle. I knew of them, but I just like, it's kind of odd and interesting. So yeah, it wasn't until I was the tender age of 34 that I attended my first con. And it's also where I met Gary. It's where I met Rob Kuntz, the Trolls, Troll Lord Games. I met them there. And then when I came back to Florida, my buddy Greg started nattering me. So from 2006 to 2008 or 9, I was attending 2 local gaming conventions, which were attended by Dave Arneson and I'm drawing a blank here. I'm gonna have to turn around and look at a box set. Pardon me. I got to look at my Twilight 2000 box set and hopefully not destroy it in the process. Mark Miller. So Mark Miller and Dave Arneson both attended the Historical Miniatures Gaming Society South's conventions here in Orlando, and I got Dave's autographs right next to Gary's autographs on all my OD&D books there. So, yes, Road March, that's what I'm talking about. Good evening, Lux. So, yeah, I got and there were two gaming conventions a year, and I ran centerpiece AD&D games. The historicals guys loved it because I brought painted miniatures and a massive spread of Dwarven Forge. These were guys that had been playing historical miniatures games, and I'm talking like, what was the Kriegsmarine and stuff like that. Not a lot of hex and shit. They were all about, you got to have painted miniatures. But I mean, these dudes, like one guy would run an event that could take up a quarter of a massive ballroom. Why? Because he was running a certain sector of the beach assault at Iwo Jima, and he had one 20 millimeter miniature for every U.S. Marine and every Japanese Marine that was in that section of the island. You know? Orbital Air, greetings. So these guys would run these games, and to them, role-playing games were still like these in the 2000s. Like they were like, role-playing games are for weirdos. They called it, and I'm not making this up, new gaming. So the halls that they set aside for people to run role-playing games at were the new gaming halls. So I actually, by showing up with Dwarven Forge and miniatures, that was something they grokked. They understood miniatures and they understood terrain. So they were super keen, and they would always try and situate my games so that if you went into the new games section, bam, you were right there. And the last one I ever ran, I actually did not run something of my own creation. The WGH series was the majority of my gaming events there at the cons. So if you play the WGH series 2, 3, 4, and 5, then you have all of the events that I ran at the cons. But Jonathan says, went to what you think was Gen Con, early 80s at UW Parkside in Kenosha. That would have to have been Gen Con. So yeah, I ran the WGH series, but the last event I ran, and I was so proud that I actually had the Dwarven Forge, and still have the Dwarven Forge to lay this out. I ran the Tomb of Horrors. The party made it as far as the Forsaken Chapel. And then they said, okay, we need to rest up. We'll camp out. And a Sararak was like, yeah, you do that. So I had some I had some Nalfeshni show up. I rolled a D4, and it was 3, and 3 Nalfeshni showed up in the middle of the night. And they just abandoned everything and said, we are running out. We are leaving this place. So they didn't even make it all the way through. There were a few casualties. Nobody died to the great green devil face. But anyway, so that was my gaming experiences, and I stopped going there because they got absolutely insanely political. Not political as in, oh, they were social justice warriors, or oh, they were alt-right Yahtzees. I mean, within themselves, like arguing over who ran the cons. And then they tried to make me a pawn of it. So I noped right out of that. But it was right about then, it was towards the end of Gary's life, but it was right about then that I started attending the Lake Geneva gaming conventions, which were put on by the Troll Lords, just so Gary would have a local con that he could attend. And they kind of handled his con appearances. If somebody wanted, apparently Gary's marching orders to them were, if somebody comes to you and asks if I can attend a con, you tell them, name an exorbitant sum. And if they agree to it, double it. And if they agree to that, I'll go. So, so I went to 3 of those. 2000, was it 2005, 2006, 2007, or was it 2006, 2007, 2000? I think it was 2006, 2007, 2008. Because the last one was the last one they held because it was after Gary had passed away. He had passed away that March, and we were there in May or June, whenever the last one was. And were they camping inside the dungeon? Yeah, Lux, it's kind of a head scratcher. I mean, it's one thing if you're like my Monday night group, which is fairly high level. They have a Daern's Instant Fortress. They can do all sorts of stuff, or they're like, 5 levels down and so on and etc. Then it's like the inside wilderness, right? But the Tomb of Horrors, yeah, no. But anyway, to kind of come back around, so after the last GaryCon, which was awful, from a personal emotional experience, not just because Gary was gone, but for reasons I don't want to go into right now. It was ruined by someone else. The presence and attitude of someone else. And then discovering why that person had done what they done and how they had done what they had done. And that they were the reason that Teeth of the Barkish Noor was never published. So it was a less pleasant experience than it could have been. It was a good vacation. When I wasn't doing con stuff or thinking about con stuff, we were at the Cove, and it was a good vacation with my wife and our 2 daughters. But coming back to cons, that was the last gaming con I attended. Now, between then and 2018, I would go to Gods and Monsters here in Orlando, and I would run the free RPG Day events, and those are like mini one-day conventions. I ran one day. I had recruited in people to come in and DM, and I worked tables, and oh man, I was just dead from the knees down. I don't think I sat down that entire 12-hour period. But that was a lot of fun. And then in 2018, I went to GaryCon 10 because my buddy Volcano God was like, "We're going to GaryCon 10." We're doing. We'd gotten slammed by a major hurricane, and he just called me up and was like, "Yeah, dude, we're going to GaryCon. I'm taking you with me. We're going to do it. We're going to do GaryCon." And that was a lot of fun. That was where I first ran Teeth of the Barkish Noor off my notes. And everybody had a blast in the Lost Crypt. So that's one of the reasons I ended up publishing it later. And then this one, you guys made happen. This one, you guys made happen. Of course, I was just talking about in-person cons, and there's been a couple since then, but there's also the convention that I do, the Great Underground Online Gaming Con, the GWOC, which is coming again in June. GWOC 2 is coming in June. When I get back from GaryCon, I'm going to jump on that bike, and there will be sign-up sheets, event listings, and all sorts of things. The Great Underground Online Gaming Convention. I will be running games, AD&D, Gamma World, maybe OD&D, definitely playing some Twilight 2000, but it will happen. Thank you, Christopher. I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun. So GWOC is coming. If you've never done a virtual con, it's actually a lot of fun. I was surprised by how engaging it was, because I also did virtual GaryCon in 2020. So yeah, in 2020, I did virtual GaryCon, and I was like, this is actually really cool. So I hosted my own to celebrate hitting 1,000 subscribers on the channel. So absolutely, come to GWOC. If you've never done a convention experience, I hope you'll join. And guys, your travel cost, your housing cost, your snack cost, well, you'll have to pay for, your own snacks and beer and stuff like that. And the overall con cost, $0. We'll have merch, t-shirts, mugs, glasses. I'm going to steal design ideas from the Dungeon Minister, because he made, I don't have my mug out here. But we're going to have an artist alley. I'm going to have Tracy Lesh on Artist Alley again this year. At least Tracy. I'll see if I can't convince some other people to come. So I hope you guys will attend. No free beer. Sorry, Orbital Air, I can't do that. So that's what's happening. That's what's going on, guys. Let's read some of the dragon, shall we? Let's look at some dragon. I should get Tracy to design the merch art. Look, your logos last year, hands up, who got GWOC merch last year? Good evening, Sean Hall, you wonderful person. Who got GWOC merch last year? I did. I got an awesome pint glass. My co-host Kyle, he got a mug. He got himself a coffee mug. I got a pint glass. I think Doomsword, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you get a pint glass and a shirt? Well, get some merch. Where did I get? Stop yelling. Caps lock is not a turbo button. Anyway, Dungeon Minister. Okay, Dungeon Minister, if you will reopen the Teespring for the GWOC 2, then we'll have we'll have a merch link. We will have a merch link. All right. Let's now, no kidding aside, because we've had like almost 30 people on stream, and it's kind of diminishing. GWOC 2 is in June. I haven't settled on exactly which weekend in June it is. So let's do this. Let's look at the dragon. So this is Dragon Volume 1, Number 5, March, appropriately enough, 76, I believe, March of 76. Beyond the Wizard Fog, Gardner F. Fox. And is that more Sutherland art? I can't tell. Yeah, I'm sorry. No offense to whoever drew this, but Tracy's Knight Fighting Serpent painting, which you guys can see, it's up over yonder, is way better. It's way better. Gen Con 10, America's premier wargame convention, Gen Con X, and this is a GaryCon X shirt. Okay, so this is 77. Sorry. Thank you, Kurt. 77. August 18, 19, 20, and 21, 1977, Playboy Resort, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, a very special celebration in honor of our 10th anniversary. You might note that this is only the third year of TSR's existence. Gary had this going in his basement years before. The Playboy Resort is now, it's still there. It's still this massive, sprawling hotel, but it's still there, and it's where GaryCon is. So we have tournaments, general gaming exhibits, auctions, seminars, movies. I wonder what movies. Miniatures, board games, fantasy, science fiction, celebrity guest prizes, the 10th annual diplomacy convention. Plan now to attend this unique event. There will be thousands of gamers, dozens of dealers exhibits, military miniatures of all periods, land, sea, and air, board games, fantasy, science fiction, a wild Boot Hill shootout, and special Dungeons and Dragons events. This convention is a must for every gamer, wargame hobby dealer, and wargame manufacturer. Dealers! Be sure to stop in to see the new War Games exhibits during the special Dealers Only Trade Show Thursday, August 18th. Be sure to come and see us at Gen Con X, TSR Hobbies, 723 William Street, Lake Geneva. Why? 53147. For pre-registration, accommodation, general information, contact Gen Con X, P.O. Box 756, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, 53147, 414-248-3625. It's funny you should mention that, Orbital Air. One of my favorite kind of slice of life bloggers, and I haven't looked at his website in forever, but he does like the Gallery of Regrettable Food, postcard collections, matchbooks collection. His hotel postcard collections are awesome because Florida's a big touristy destination, and some of the places where he has postcards from are places that are actually very, 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 very close to me. I'm on what used to be a major cross-state thoroughfare before they started putting in freeways and stuff like that. And the little neck of the woods that I'm going through had a lot of motels. And they were very nice, and for being tiny places, they had swimming pools, television and air conditioning in every room, places like that. And I'll see them pop up, and I'm like, oh, that's on U.S. State Road 17/90. Holy crap, that's like a mile up where I'm from. And then I'll look at like what the postcard, I'm like, yeah, that used car lot / adult entertainment place is that's what that is. And but anyway, Lilacs.com, the guy actually has a whole subsection on the Gobbler. That's why I bring that up. Dragon Rumbles. The eastern portion of the U.S. is not the only area of the country to have suffered a blizzard this winter, though mine has been of a different nature. A month or two ago, I placed a listing in Writer's Digest as a market for science fiction, fantasy, and sorcery. Within 2 weeks of that appearance, I have been inundated with a barrage of inquiries and unsolicited manuscripts, most of which aren't right for these pages. But I'm reading or having them read by Gary Jacquette, who has become my voluntary associate, meaning unpaid, every single one. What this means to all the writers that have sent me submissions is that you should expect a response, but not soon. I have extended invitations to a number of authors of fantasy and science fiction games other than D&D and EPT to write them to write on their creations for these pages. Sorry, the text is a little small and I'm sort of looking at it at an odd angle. We'll see you, Dungeon Minister. Take care. I don't know. If somebody wants to call that number, that's on you. You'll have to tell me. It's probably just a mobile phone somewhere in Wisconsin. I doubt it's a cell landline. While we recognize that D&D started the fantasy gaming genre, there are now a number of science fiction and fantasy games available that we feel should be treated in this magazine. I extend this invitation to non-authors of games to do this also. I'm also looking for articles on Stellar Conquest, the Yithri, WBRM, God's Fire, Starship Troopers, Outreach, Sorcerer, Star Soldier, Green Planet Trilogy, Ogre, Monsters, Venerable, Destruction, and others. It's time for the Dragon to expand its subject matter. I want to get into fantasy miniatures as well. There's a very good chance that Dragon will include a game in TD number 7, our first anniversary issue. A very strange game. The enormous amount of fiction that has been submitted to us has given us a few ideas. Some of the stuff is of excellent quality, but doesn't meet the standards, doesn't meet the needs of you readers, as it doesn't really tie into gaming background. But some of this material is so good it deserves to be published and the enjoyment shared with as many people as possible. To that end, we are considering publishing an anthology of material of that caliber, provided there seems to be an interest in the market for something of this nature. I would welcome reader comments on this matter. Now, I'm not sure how much further later it was, but I've actually seen a copy of like a compilation of Dragon fiction. Good evening, Yang. Good to see you. The final important issue is... I'm sorry. I've been saving the best news for last. Dragons is expanding to 8 issues per year. This came about as a result of several influences. First, and most importantly, Dragon has been a great success to date and shows no sign of slowing down in the foreseeable future. Second, and least beneficial, is the fact that Little Wars, our sister publication, has not kept up with the Dragon in terms of growth. We decided to cut Little Wars back to quarterly publication, but increase its size to 40 pages. We feel that this move increases the desirability of Little Wars and allows us 2 extra months per year, which we decided to devote to the Dragon. Subscription for both magazines is still $9 for 6 issues. The final important reason is the state of our hobby. Fantasy gaming is expanding at a lightning fast rate. By broadening the scope of Dragon, we feel that we can better serve the hobby as well as the hobbyists themselves by increasing our frequency. Publication dates are listed in the publisher's statement on page 3. The increased frequency allows us to stay on top of all the new developments and keep you, the readers, far better informed and more up to date. And that's by, of course, Tim Cast. Let's look at what's in this issue. Contents. Witchcraft supplement for D&D. So this is is this the true beginning of witches in AD&D? Thank you, Kurt. Dragon Tales. Yes, so it took them a little while to get that going. More on Metamorphosis Alpha. Featured creature. I think you guys will like that. How Green Was My Mutant. Beyond the Wizard Fog by Gardner Fox. I don't think we're going to read all 6 pages of it. Wizard Research Rules. Gandalf was only a 5th level magic user, something that infuriated people for a long time, and the Gnome Cache Chapter 5, which again, we're not going to read the whole thing. I'll have to add this NPC to the book if you vote yes, Bill. I vote yes. That just, you had to ask. Witchcraft supplement for Dungeons and Dragons. Let's take a look. We received this manuscript over 15 months ago and have been unable to establish the identity of the author. If he or she is reading this, please step forward and receive your just reward, editor. So basically, they just kind of jump right into it here. Its origins long since buried in the mist of time, the full story of witchcraft will never be told, but it is certain that it held deep roots in the most humble and God-fearing of ancient communities. The legendary powers and most secret wisdoms of its members could make an interesting and lengthy address to anyone's fantasy campaign. The greatest contribution will be evident in the murky dungeons where a single witch could make a corridor almost impassable or an enticing treasure almost unsearchable. Since no witches appear on the wilderness encounter chart, assume on a die roll of 5 or 7, not 5 to 7, 5 or 7, there will be witches present 50% of the time, and the chart indicated on the monster, the chart's indicated monster on the other 50%. This implies 2 die rolls. The number of witches encountered will be a factor of terrain as they were best suited to certain environments and favored the woodlands and orchards most of all. Witches will be either lawful 35% of the time or chaotic 65%. If a group is found to be chaotic, the order of every witch must be checked individually with a 12-sided die. A 1 to 8 implies a membership of the low order, while a 9 to 11 will indicate the graduated to the high order, and a 12 means she swears her allegiance to the forbidden secret order. Low and high order witches will mix in a group of warlocks and wizards, but secret order witches are a radical strain and will never accompany the other types. If the first die roll is not a 12, assume none of the rest may be a 12 either. Likewise, if the first roll is a 12, all witches will be secret order. The secret order witches are an exception to the table which follows. Secret witches are to be found in lairs 75% of the time. They may be found in any terrain, including water, and there will be only one regardless of their location. All other evil witches and the lawful witches will comply with this table. And then there's a little chart there. When in her lair, which will have available every portable magic device in her hoard of magic items, the DM must determine which items are in the treasure, as it may affect the outcome of battle when the lair has been invaded. Witchcraft, excluding those spells which resemble clerical or wizard spells, will not affect djinn, freet, or clerics of any alignment. These 3 character types are immune to witchcraft. All witches, except for a priestess, have saving throws equal to warlocks. For your saving throws against witchcraft, treat all witch magic as a spell on the saving throw matrix. Come sit for a spell. A good witch may normally perform 7 spells per day from the following table. There is, however, 4% chance that any good lawful witch encountered is ancient, thereby qualifying her as a priestess. A priestess may use the 10 ordinary spells daily, and once per week may employ one of her own more powerful spells. Be sure to check every good witch. White witchcraft. Commune, cure light wounds, detect evil, continual light, hold person, remove curse, neutralize poison. Those spells are identical to those of a patriarch. Sleep, locate object, clairvoyance, detect invisibility, polymorph others, protection from normal missiles. These function as magic users of the same name. We have some new spells here. None of the above magic will affect creatures immune to witchcraft. Calm, range 7, diameter 6. All insects, animals, and man types within range of the witch's spell will lose their will to fight, even if engaged in life or death battle. Combat will cease immediately. Summon elemental. We've got summon elemental. Whoops. Back over here. Come on. There we go. Rejuvenation affects any one living creature, reducing the physical game age by 5 years. A lawful witch uses a spell to remain forever young and beautiful. Dissipation. With this spell, a witch may disperse any elemental, any cloud or mist, or any magic wall of stone, iron, ice, thorns, or water, regardless of the level of the spellcaster. Ouch. Comfort from 1 to 10 recipients will feel no pain, heat, cold, fear, hunger, thirst, or exhaustion for 6 full hours. This does not negate damage from poison, fire, weapons, etc., but it will benefit the recipient greatly. It adds +4 to morale, adds +1 to saving throws, eliminates need to eat or rest each hour, and neutralizes effect of Fear Wand, Panic Drums, sleep spells. A priestess has saving throws equal to an 11th level wizard. She may daily perform 10 spells from the preceding table, and 1 each week employ a spell from the following list. Cure disease, as with the patriarch. Anti-magic shell, as with a wizard. Youth. 40 game years may be removed from the age of any single living, no undead creature, which is not immune to witchcraft. If desirable, 20 years may be taken from 2 living creatures, making each 20 years younger. Immune from witchcraft sounds like a Sheridan lobbing a tactical nuke. A nice callback. For those of you who missed our discussion on tactics the other night. Influence. Any one neutral or chaotic character touched by the witch's hand will be immediately converted to the lawful persuasion on a permanent basis. This will not affect clerics or undead. Use hit probability matrix and common sense to determine if a touch has been made. It is not necessary to contact the target's skin. Wow. So once a week, a priestess can just be like, no, this demon is now lawful. Jack is like the most efficient fan stuff creator. Banish any one creature that is greatly threatening the life of the priestess, whether it be undead, clerical monster, man, or even another priestess, regardless of alignment, may be instantly banished to hell with no saving throw. The spell is completely infallible and operates at any range, regardless of the precautions taken against it. Even if creatures the witch cannot detect may be banished, as long as they are threatening her life in a direct way. That's potent. No saving throw always works. Just whomp, you're gone, be gone. Dang. Seek. Or enchantment, rather. Enchantment. In a single day, any one item of magic from the list of rings, potions, mist weapons, magic items, or table A or B, which items may be produced. No wands, staves, or scrolls may be recreated in this manner. If the game master considers a price offer, he will allow a player to hire the priestess to make a particular item, but there are conditions. A player must either be lawful or neutral, he must pay in advance, and for the 24-hour period he employs her, he is bound to protect the witch, since she will be at a I think that's supposed to be in a trance. Since she will be in a trance and unable to defend herself. Seek. It has long been understood that a witch has access to unearthly sources of information. With this spell, a priestess may locate any single item, place, or creature, like a super locate object spell, and visual its surroundings. She will be able to describe its location and tell vaguely what part of the world and what kind of terrain it lies in. The closer she approaches, the more definite she can be of its exact location. She will perform this spell for any lawful creature at the price of a magic item or 10,000 gold pieces, whichever seems more valuable. But the item you seek must be described to her in great detail, or she won't be able to detect it for you. And then we have some black magic. Magic has a price. Well, we know what the normal D&D spells do. Let's look at these. So we have Pit. A pit 5 feet in diameter and 15 feet deep will form in the ground. If several of these incantations are used in succession, a very deep well may be dug. No horizontal pits may be dug, no tunneling. And if dug in the desert sand, the pit's walls will cave in on a 6-sided die roll of 1 to 4. Firebox. A hollow 10-foot cube of fire will form around the target creature and remain there 6 turns. It moves with the object it surrounds and will not suffocate or harm whatever is trapped inside. Anything passing through the firewall takes normal damage from firewalls. This spell can be used as a refuge, prison, a plant killer, ice melter, etc. If the witch uses telekinesis upon the item, she can mow down ranks of enemy troops, destroyed by cold, rain, or magic. Diminish plant animal men. All plants, animals, and men types in a 10-foot by 10-foot area who fail to make their saving throws will be reduced to 1/2 their original size, with corresponding reductions in range of spells and weapons, in strength and hit dice, and in their movement. Successive uses of this spell may reduce a target to 1/4, 1/8, etc. of original size. Plant entrapment. Basically, it's like the entangle spell. Paralyzing pit. Undead control. Aging ages a target 20 years immediately. Circle of blindness. Well, I mean, that's fairly self-explanatory. Curse. Range 1 inch. Range infinite with ESP crystal ball. It is not possible to curse a creature with immediate death. A curse will not affect holy items, Bibles, crosses, blessed water, clarets, etc. Enchanted or magic items, those creatures immune to witchcraft, or anything that is more than 75% enclosed by silver. A fighter wearing a silver helmet, shield, and plate would be safe, but just one with silver shield or just silver mail would not be. Usually map scrolls and articles of clothing or furniture are likely targets. Poison touch. Curtain wall. Creates basically an extra dimensional room. Sounds a bit like rope trick. Some lovely art by JDW, whoever that was. Nicely done. And we have an ad here. We'll take a break from the witches. Games and Puzzles, which to my knowledge was still publishing as late as the early 2000s. If anybody knows about this one, let me know. But it's nice to see, Games and Puzzles. Let's see what Games and Puzzles has to offer. War games. With increasing interest in war games and wargaming, we have recently added a special section on war games, incorporating reviews of published games, advice and tactics, history, and the origins of wargaming. Nothing on RPGs, but, we do what we can. And then there's Witch Secret Orders, and it just kind of goes on like that, right? We don't want to get too bogged down into it. We can revisit. Maybe, you know what? I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a deep dive on witchcraft in D&D in October. That's what we're going to do. We're going to revisit this, and we're going to dig deep. Maybe we'll even create a witch NPC. So what would you guys want? Would you like a hag, or more of your willowy Stevie Nicks gray or white witch? Let me know. But we'll do that around Halloween time. And it just kind of goes on. The witch gets more and more info. Witch lairs and treasures, witch items. Another by JDW. It is a while to wait. Roll both simultaneous as dice are being rolled anyway. The Sanderson sisters. Oh, yeah. 114 has probably the best representation of the witch class. in my opinion, it's the most refined. Like, there's some of this one which are a little, I mean, you know, I banish you to hell. You don't get a say. Bye. And there's a 1 in 12 chance that the witches you encounter are going to be able to do that. A witch like Black Alice from the Pratchett books. Mara Fatty, I must admit I don't know that one. You'll have to explain it to me in the chat. So a couple of pieces by Jim Ward about Met Alpha, which we're going to do a deep dive on Met Alpha. That's coming real soon, by the way. I'm going to acquire a copy of Met Alpha 1E. Well, you know what? Let's wrap up because it's getting a little late, and I got to get ready for my Monday night AD&D game. To last for a couple of weeks. Let's look at the featured creature. Now, if you know, don't spoil it for everyone. She was a parody of the forest witch that was living in a gingerbread house and was popped in her own oven. Okay. Yes, I read Tolkien over and over, but not Pratchett. Sorry. Featured creature, the Ankh-Egg. That's right. The Ankh-Egg by Errol Otis. Some amazing art by Errol Otis there. Ankh-Egg's doing their Ankh-Eggy best. So the Ankh-Egg in that lovely color plate. This makes it worth owning this copy of the magazine. Featured creature. Number appearing 1 to 6. Description 10 to 20 foot long, brown chitin overall, pink underside, armor class 2 overall, underside 4, movement 12 or 6 through the ground. Hit dice 3 to 8, 8-sided die. You see 8-sided hit die creeping in more and more in these monster listings. I believe the Remoraz, also an Errol Otis creation, had 8-sided hit dice. Errol showing the D8 a lot of love. 25% in layer. Treasure. B2. Is that B times 2? It's 2 times normal. Unfortunately, the scans, like the OCRing of these issues, it's anybody's guess. The audible description sounds like, hey, not going to touch that one. Squirt acid for 1 to 6 die of damage according to size. Bite for 3 to 18 points. Magic resistance none. Alignment neutral. And I'm not. Do we get more description, or is it just? Did they just whack that right in there and? No, that was it. Well, let's close out with a couple of letters. Let's see. Let's find a good one with a reply. Here we go. Dear sirs, allow me to congratulate you on your new magazine as well as to order a copy of The Dragon #1. Although not a D&D player myself, I still find many of the articles and rules interesting. However, I begin to wonder where it will all end. My meaning is this: I fear you're going to become bogged down in such a plethora of rules, subclasses, etc., that if they are all used, the game could easily become practically unplayable. Oh, sir, if you only knew. I wonder how many players use more than a tithe of them now, assuming 10%. Overcomplication can be as bad as oversimplification. I'm not saying it should be a game for the lowest common denominator, but it's not impossible to foresee a loss of interest in it to become almost incomprehensible. The most successful games are those which do not require one eye on the game and the other on a rulebook. They're also the most enjoyable. I must at this point disagree with the readers who oppose fiction in The Dragon. Frankly, I would like to see much more. I was especially pleased to see Gardner Fox writing for you. I find his heroes to be considerably more original than most of the Conan types, as most other authors. I missed the first installment of Gnome Cash, but the author's writing seems to be improving. From second to third. If it keeps up, he may be another Hellsprite de Camp, who Ernst's writing seems to be resembling more and more. I hope they all had a big laugh about that. It was also gratifying to see her offering new writers a chance to submit their works. Aside from more fiction and artwork, here are a few things off the top of my head I'd like to see. Articles on medieval tactics, both personal combat and full-scale battles. Book reviews, critiques of various games, like the article on War of the Empires. Reviews and sources of other fantasy magazines, especially the smaller shoestring ones that most of us never have a chance to find out about, much less see. An article on the Society for Creative Anachronisms would be of interest to many readers. I'm sure battle reports from dungeon players could be good if worked right, and mainly keep the magazine headed in the direction it seems to be going. Yours truly, Mike Luters. Oh, it's continued on page 28. Hey, Patty's Parlor. Thank you, Kurt. Tim responds, the purpose of The Dragon is to provide a possible forum for communication pertaining to fantasy gaming. By fantasy, I mean swords and sorcery, SF, and related playing, as well as board gaming. I certainly don't recommend that every DM adopt every item that I publish. I just pitch them so that discriminating DMs can pick and choose as they see fit within the confines and limitations of their campaigns. The D&D field is sharply polarized between those who feel that every single contingency should be anticipated and rules already laid out, and those who prefer to pick and choose the elements of their campaigns and wing it whenever new alternatives present themselves. I try to satisfy both of these dissimilar camps as well as those in between the two poles. The medieval articles you desire are more likely to appear in Little Wars, our sister publication, etc., etc. Take care, Mobius, and thank you for your well wishes. All right, let's hop over to page 28, and we'll finish up with a featured creature there. Let's see. There we go. Little tiny bit, and we can get some ads in. The Ankh burrows through the earth like an earthworm, preferring soil rich in minerals and organic matter. Thus, it will usually be found in forests and choice agricultural land. This causes farmers great consternation, since Ankh like to supplement its diet of soil with a bit of fresh meat, human or otherwise. Since its mouth is not designed to rip and tear its meat, its mandibles crush its prey, and secrete a digestive enzyme, causing additional 1 to 10 points of damage per turn until the prey is completely dissolved. If sorely pressed in battle, it is able to squirt its digestive acids 30 feet once per 6 hours. However, when it does this, it cannot digest anything for the same length of time, so it will usually bite. Its favorite method of attacking is lying 5 to 10 feet under the ground until its antennae detect a likely victim passing overhead. Then it burrows directly out underneath the prey and crunch. SpringCon 5. Olds Plaza Motel, Lansing, Michigan. $3 pre-reg fee. Board games, miniatures, D&D, auction, medieval dancing, and music. Go enjoy the Terpsichorean Muse at SpringCon 5, May 21st and 22nd. Enjoy historical gaming too? Well, there's an ad for Little Wars. The Dungeon Hobby Shop. And, of course, Diplomacy World. The Articles of War 2525, Delaware Ave, Buffalo, New York. Monday to Friday, 6 to 9. Saturday, 10. Sunday, 1 to. Games, figures, rules. Dungeon opens every Friday. So there we go. That is where we'll wrap up this evening. I hope you guys are kind of enjoying this sort of quick pass through. Now, tomorrow, we'll definitely be streaming D&D. I know the next day I got to be up at like 5 in the morning to get to the airport to get the heck out of here. So I don't know if we'll be doing a full show. We may just jump straight into D&D, 90 minutes, 2 hours of AD&D, and then I'm out of here. We'll just have to see how much stuff I can get done during the day to get ready for the trip on Wednesday. If you're going to be at GaryCon, but you're not going to be on the stream tomorrow night, if you see me wandering around, I cut a pretty distinct profile. So please don't feel afraid to walk up and say, "Hi, I'm a fan of your show. I watch it every night," and click thumbs up on every live stream and super chat you and tell all my friends to subscribe. And when are you going to have merch? You get what I'm saying. Oh, no problem, Jack. What am I going to back? Any books, lucky dice, favorite mug? I don't know yet. We'll just have to see. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up there. Kurt, I'll see you. Good evening, Miss Bella Games. I'm just heading out. Michael, you guys have an absolutely wonderful evening. I will see you tomorrow night, everyone, whether I just do a short stream, whether we play AD&D or I do a stream and AD&D. Again, it depends on what I get done tomorrow. Got to lay in a lot of stuff. So you guys have a wonderful evening. Thanks for watching. And if you're just stopping by and you're not already subscribed, please click the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications. If you like this video, give it a like, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/thedelversdungeon. Subscribe is much the same, except you got to do a little underscore dash between the Delver and Dungeon. You can buy me a coffee if you want. Buy me a coffee if you'd like. But anyway, y'all have a good one, and I'll see you around real soon. At least a couple of short videos are coming tomorrow. I know I said I was going to do 3 today. I said I was going to do 3, but I ended up not doing 3. I figured 2 today, 2 tomorrow. That would probably work the best. So that's what I'll do. Anyway, guys, until then, be good to each other. I love you all. I do mean it. And I'll see you all at GaryCon.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Sookie Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.